Murphy Baligan stands in the doorway of his late wife's study, the room she used to manage farm finances before cancer took her 3 years ago, watching in disbelief as his only son Chitty signs papers that will transfer ownership of the family farm. The lawyer drones on about legal formalities while Chitty's wife Amara sits beside him, her hand on his arm, her smile sweet and encouraging. Murphy's hands shake with rage he's suppressing, watching decades of his life, his sweat, his wife's memory, being given away by a son too blind to see he's being manipulated. "Are you sure about this, Chitty?" Murphy tries one last time, his voice steady despite the storm raging in his chest. His son looks up, guilt flickering across his face before Amara squeezes his arm. "Dad, we've discussed this. The farm is too much for you to manage alone at your age. Amara and I will take care of it. You can finally rest." 68 isn't ancient, Murphy thinks bitterly. He still wakes at 5 a.m., still works the fields, still manages 50 acres of yam and cassava that feed half of Ogun State. But he says nothing, just watches Chitty's pen scratch across the final page. After the lawyer leaves, Murphy stands by the window overlooking the fields, the same fields his grandfather cleared with machetes, the same land his father expanded with loans and prayers, the same soil Murphy himself has bled into for 46 years. He hears Amara and Chitty in the next room, their voices carrying through the thin walls. "I told you he'd cave." Amara's voice is triumphant, stripped of the sugary tone she uses around Murphy. "Old man thinks he's invincible, but he's weak. Now we can modernize everything, maybe even sell to that development company. We'll be rich." Chitty's response is quieter, uncertain. "Amara, he's my father. This feels wrong." She laughs, a harsh, calculating sound. "Don't be soft now. He'll be fine in his little corner of the house. Besides, he should be grateful we're even keeping him here instead of sending him to one of those homes." Murphy's heart breaks and hardens simultaneously. His son, his boy who he raised alone after his mother died, who he put through university with farm profits, who he believed would honor his mother's legacy, has been blinded by a woman who sees them all as stepping stones to wealth. But Murphy doesn't yell, doesn't storm into the room and expose what he heard. Instead, he walks out to the fields as the sun sets, letting the red earth soothe his anger. He touches the cassava plants his wife planted in her final year, and he makes a silent promise to her memory. He will not let this stand. He will protect what they built together. And he will teach his son a lesson about trust, loyalty, and the cost of betrayal. The plan begins to form, quiet, patient, unstoppable. That night, Murphy sits in his late wife's study, unable to sleep, sorting through old farm documents. Adora had been meticulous with records. Every transaction, every loan, every contract filed away in labeled folders. Murphy has avoided this room since she died, the memories too painful. But tonight, searching for some weapon he can use to reclaim his farm, he forces himself to face the past. That's when he finds it, a folder labeled Mortgages, Third-Party Holdings. Inside are documents dating back 5 years, papers Murphy had forgotten about. During a particularly bad harvest season, Amara's parents, the Okafor family, had come to him desperate. They'd defaulted on their mortgage, were weeks from losing their home. Mr. Okafor had approached Murphy privately, too ashamed to ask Amara for help. Murphy had refinanced their mortgage under his own name, essentially buying their debt and becoming their creditor. He'd done it quietly, charging minimal interest, expecting nothing but gratitude and the preservation of his son's in-law's dignity. Murphy's hands shake as he reads through the documents. The mortgage is still active, payments inconsistent, the balance significant, Nigerian Naira 12 million, roughly $15,000. According to the contract, Murphy has the legal right to call the loan at any time, and given the missed payments over the past year, he could foreclose on their property immediately. Amara has no idea. Her parents clearly never told her that Murphy owns their debt, probably too embarrassed to admit they needed help from their daughter's in-laws. The irony is exquisite. Amara manipulated his son into taking his farm, not knowing Murphy holds power over her family's home. He could destroy them with a single legal action. But Murphy is patient, strategic. Revenge served cold is always more satisfying than hot rage. He photocopies every document, stores the originals in a safe deposit box at the bank, and begins to plan his counterattack. Amara wanted to play games with family legacy. Murphy has been playing the long game since before she was born. Murphy attends Sunday dinner the following week with a serene smile, playing the role of the defeated old man. Amara holds court at the head of the table, Murphy's table, in Murphy's house at the farm Murphy built, explaining her vision for modernization. We're going to install irrigation systems, mechanize the harvesting, maybe even lease some land to a resort developer. This place has been stuck in the past for too long. She says it looking directly at Murphy, her meaning clear. He's the past that needs to be swept away. That sounds wonderful, Murphy says mildly, spooning his jollof rice. You clearly have a gift for business. Chitty shifts uncomfortably, avoiding his father's eyes. Amara preens at the compliment, missing the undercurrent of sarcasm completely. Well, I did study business administration. Unlike some people who just got their hands dirty without any real education. The insult is subtle but unmistakable. Murphy's father, Chitty's grandfather, never had formal schooling but built this farm from nothing. Murphy himself only finished secondary school before farm work consumed his life. Amara's contempt for their lack of degrees is barely veiled. After dinner, Murphy takes a walk around the property with his longtime farmhand, Emeka. Emeka has worked this land for 30 years, knows every furrow and plant, and has watched the family dynamics with the wisdom of someone who understands human nature. Oga Murphy, Emeka says quietly, something day happen. That woman go destroy everything your wife build. Murphy nods. I know, but we go show her say experience pass education. I need your help. They strategize in the old equipment barn, Murphy explaining his plan while Emeka listens with a growing smile. Murphy will systematically undermine Amara's confidence while simultaneously positioning himself to reclaim control. First step, make her doubt her abilities by letting her fail publicly. Second step, reveal the leverage he holds over her family. Third step, give his son the chance to choose, his manipulative wife or his father's legacy. It's risky, potentially could drive Chitty further into Amara's arms, but Murphy believes in his son. Believes the boy he raised with values and integrity is still in there, just temporarily blinded. Murphy begins subtly. He calls longtime suppliers and buyers, people who've worked with the Balogun farm for decades, and plants careful seeds. New management is taking over. Young people with modern ideas. I'm just an old man now, my opinions don't matter. But you should probably get payment up front going forward, just to be safe. The warning is vague enough to be deniable, but specific enough to make people nervous. Within a week, 3 major buyers request prepayment instead of the usual post-harvest terms they've honored for years. Amara panics when the payment demands arrive. She hasn't prepared cash flow for upfront payments, assumed she'd continue Murphy's credit relationships. She storms into Murphy's room, accusing him of sabotage. What did you tell them? Why are they suddenly demanding money up front? Murphy looks up from his Bible, his expression innocent. I didn't tell them anything except that you're in charge now. Maybe they're just being cautious with new management. Business relationships take years to build, my dear. Can't expect people to trust you automatically just because you have a degree. The next problem arrives when a critical irrigation pump breaks down. Normally, Murphy would have it repaired by his brother-in-law, who runs a repair shop and always gives family discounts. But Murphy quietly tells his brother-in-law that Amara prefers to handle things professionally now, no more family favors. The repair quote comes back at 450,000 Nigerian nairas, triple what Murphy usually pays. Amara nearly has a stroke when she sees the invoice, but she's too proud to admit she needs Murphy's help negotiating it down. She pays full price, depleting the farm's operating cash. A week later, the local market calls Murphy. They've been trying to reach Amara about a missed delivery. Murphy acts surprised, says he's no longer in charge, gives them Amara's number. But he knows exactly what happened. Amara didn't check the planting calendar Adora always maintained, didn't realize that certain buyers expected weekly deliveries during harvest season. When the market calls Amara, angry about empty stalls and disappointed customers, she scrambles to explain but just makes it worse by blaming Murphy's poor record-keeping. Word spreads quickly in the tight-knit farming community. The Balogun farm is under new management and everything's falling apart. Murphy crafts a letter carefully, printed at an internet cafe so it can't be traced to him. It's addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Okafor and marked Urgent Financial Matter. Inside, he writes, "This is a courtesy notice regarding mortgage account number 47392. Recent missed payments have been noted. As the current holder of this debt, I'm required to inform you that continued non-payment may result in foreclosure proceedings. Please contact me at your earliest convenience to discuss payment arrangements. MB Creditor." He doesn't sign his full name. Doesn't explicitly say he's calling the loan. Just enough to terrify them into action while maintaining plausible deniability if it comes back to him too soon. He mails it on a Monday, calculating it will arrive Wednesday when Amara typically visits her parents. Sure enough, Thursday morning Chitty calls Murphy, his voice tight with stress. "Dad, can I talk to you?" Something's wrong with Amara's parents and she's really upset. They meet at a local cafe, neutral ground. Chitty looks exhausted, the stress of managing Amara's increasingly erratic behavior clearly wearing on him. Her parents got some letter about their mortgage being called in. They're panicking. Amara's convinced someone's trying to sabotage our family. "Dad, I know things have been weird lately, but we're still family, right? Is there anything you know about this?" Murphy lets the silence stretch, watching his son's face. "What makes you think I'd know about your in-laws' financial troubles?" Chitty looks uncomfortable. "I don't know." Amara said. "She said you've been acting strange since the farm transfer. Said maybe you're trying to get revenge by going after her family." The accusation hangs between them. Murphy feels a surge of anger, that Amara would poison his relationship with his son even further, but he keeps his voice calm. "Chitty, your mother and I built that farm with our bare hands. We never cheated anyone, never manipulated anyone, never used family bonds as weapons. If your wife's family is having financial problems, that's unfortunate, but it has nothing to do with me. Technically true, their financial problems predate this letter. Murphy is just making them aware of consequences. But son, I need you to think about something. When someone takes what isn't theirs through manipulation and lies, karma has a way of balancing the scales. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually truth comes out." Chitty leaves looking troubled, which is exactly what Murphy wants. Let him start questioning, start seeing cracks in Amara's perfect facade. Murphy pays for the coffee and drives back to the farm, where Emeka is waiting with news. Amara's been trying to negotiate a deal with a property developer, showing them the land without telling Chitty, getting preliminary offers. She's already planning to sell, probably pocket the money, and leave Murphy and his son with nothing. The betrayal runs even deeper than Murphy suspected. But now he has evidence of her intentions, which will be useful for what comes next. Murphy announces that as the former owner, he'd like to conduct a formal farm inspection with some of the longtime workers and suppliers, just to ensure the transition has been smooth and to pass on any institutional knowledge before he fully steps back. It's phrased as helpful, generous even. Amara can't refuse without looking petty, so she agrees through gritted teeth. Murphy invites Emeka, 3 other senior farmhands, 2 major suppliers, and casually mentions it to several neighbors who've been curious about the new management. The inspection day arrives with a crowd, more people than Amara expected, all of them watching her with evaluative eyes. Murphy plays the gracious former owner, pointing out where different crops are planted, explaining the irrigation systems, discussing soil quality. Then he starts asking questions, innocent on the surface but calculated to expose Amara's ignorance. "And Amara, how are you planning to handle the nitrogen depletion in the western fields? We usually rotate with legumes, but I'm sure you have modern solutions." Amara stammers, clearly has no idea what he's talking about. One of the suppliers tries to help. "Maybe she's planning to use chemical fertilizers?" Murphy nods thoughtfully. "That could work, though it's expensive, and you'd need to arrange payments soon since the planting season starts next month. Have you ordered supplies yet?" Amara hasn't. Didn't even know she needed to. The supplier exchanges glances with his colleague. This woman has no idea what she's doing. Then, as if by coincidence, another supplier mentions, "By the way, we never received payment for last month's delivery. Usually Murphy pays within 2 weeks, but it's been 4 now. Is everything okay?" All eyes turn to Amara. She flushes, claims there must be some mistake, promises to look into it immediately. But the damage is done. Everyone here now knows she's behind on payments, disorganized, in over her head. Murphy watches her unravel with satisfaction. Each crack in her competence another step toward reclaiming his farm. After the inspection, as people are leaving, Murphy casually mentions to one of the neighbors, a notorious gossip who he knows will spread the word. "By the way, I've been meaning to ask if you know a good property lawyer. I'm looking into some mortgage holdings I have. Might need to make some decisions about them." The neighbor's ears perk up. "Mortgage holdings? I didn't know you invested in real estate, Murphy." Murphy smiles enigmatically. "Oh, just some family arrangements from years ago. Helping out relatives, you know." But sometimes those arrangements need to be reconsidered. The words are vague enough to mean anything, but the neighbor fills in the blanks with assumptions and gossip. Within hours, rumors spread through the community. Murphy has financial leverage somewhere, might be calling in debts, might have resources everyone underestimated. The rumors reach Amara's parents by evening. They call their daughter in a panic, asking if she knew that Murphy held their mortgage, if she'd done anything to anger him, if she realized the danger they're all in. Amara's world starts crumbling. She calls Murphy, trying to sound casual, but her voice betrays her fear. "Uncle Murphy, my parents mentioned something strange. They said you might be involved in their mortgage." Murphy's voice is warm, friendly. "Oh yes, I helped them out years ago when they had some trouble. Lovely people, your parents. I'm sure they'll sort out those missed payments soon. Would be terrible if anything happened to their home, especially at their age. But I'm sure you'll help them, now that you have resources from the farm." The implication is clear. Murphy's not just going to let her steal his farm without consequences. He has leverage, power, the ability to destroy her family's stability, just as she tried to destroy his legacy. Amara hangs up shaking, finally understanding she's not playing against a naive old man, but against someone who's been 10 steps ahead the entire time. Amara corners Murphy in the barn the next morning, her mask of sweetness completely dropped. "You planned this. You deliberately set me up to fail." Murphy doesn't deny it, just keeps oiling the old tractor engine. "I didn't set you up, my dear. You set yourself up. I just stopped protecting you from your own incompetence." She advances on him, her voice venomous. "If you try to take back the farm, I'll make sure Chitty never speaks to you again. I'll poison him against you completely. You'll die alone." Murphy looks up, and the steel in his eyes makes her step back. "You already tried to poison him against me. But here's what you don't understand. That farm, that land, those relationships, they're built on 46 years of trust, hard work, and honor. You can't destroy that in a few months just because you have a piece of paper. And Chitty," Murphy's voice softens, "he's my son. I raised him with values. Right now he's blinded by love, but eventually he'll see who you really are. And when he does, you'll have nothing, no farm, no husband, no leverage. Because I'm taking it all back." The threat hangs in the air between them. Amara tries to rally, to threaten him again, but Murphy just returns to his work, dismissing her. She storms out, and Murphy allows himself a small smile. She's scared now, making mistakes, and scared people are predictable. Sure enough, within 2 days, Murphy learns through Emeka that Amara's been trying to sell her parents' property to pay off the mortgage. Anything to remove Murphy's leverage. But when she goes to arrange it, she discovers Murphy has already filed a legal claim on the property due to default. She can't sell without his permission. Chitty finally breaks. He shows up at Murphy's small room late at night, the one Murphy has retreated to since signing over the farm, and his face is torn with anguish. "Dad, I need the truth. All of it. What's happening? Amara says you're trying to destroy us, but nothing makes sense anymore. The farm is falling apart. Her parents are terrified. Everyone looks at me with pity. And I don't know what's real anymore." Murphy makes his son sit down, and for the first time since this began, he tells the complete truth. He explains about overhearing their conversation after the signing, about Amara's plans to sell the farm to developers, about the mortgage he holds on her parents' property, about every manipulation and lie she's constructed. "I'm not trying to destroy you, son. I'm trying to save you from someone who's destroying you. Your mother and I raised you better than this. You're better than this." Chitty breaks down, crying like he hasn't since his mother died. "I love her, Dad, but she's not who I thought she was. And I'm so ashamed. I gave away Mom's farm. I betrayed you. I betrayed everything we built. How do I fix this?" Murphy pulls his son into a hug, and for the first time in months, feels hope. "We fix it together. But first, you need to decide. Are you going to be a man who stands by his family, or a man who lets himself be controlled by someone who only sees you as a meal ticket?" The next morning, Chitty confronts Amara. Murphy doesn't witness it, but he hears the shouting, hears her tears and accusations, hears his son's voice, firm and heartbroken, telling her he knows everything. She tries every manipulation tactic, crying, raging, threatening, pleading, claiming Murphy poisoned Chitty's mind. But Chitty has finally seen through it. "Pack your things," he tells her. "This isn't your home. It never was." The legal process to reverse the farm transfer takes 3 months of paperwork, lawyer meetings, and court appearances. Amara fights it initially, But when Murphy presents evidence of her plans to sell the land, plans she never disclosed to Chitty when convincing him to transfer ownership, the judge rules in Murphy's favor. The transfer is nullified based on fraud and misrepresentation. Amara's lawyer tries to negotiate, but Murphy is immovable. Full restoration of ownership, or he'll pursue criminal charges for fraud. She settles, signing papers that return the farm to Murphy's name. As part of the settlement, Murphy agrees to forgive the mortgage on her parents' home. Not for her sake, but for Chitty's sake, so his former in-laws don't become collateral damage. Your parents were good people who made mistakes and needed help, Murphy tells Amara during the final meeting. That's the difference between us. I help family when they stumble. You exploit them. Amara leaves without a final word, and Murphy watches her go with no triumph, just exhaustion. The victory feels hollow because it cost him time with his son, caused pain and division, forced him to become calculating when he'd rather be tending his yams in peace. But sometimes protecting what you love requires you to be harder than you want to be. The farm restoration takes longer than the legal work. 3 months of neglect under Amara's mismanagement has left things deteriorated, missed plantings, broken equipment, strained supplier relationships. But Murphy and Chitty work side by side, repairing what was broken, literally and figuratively. Emeka and the other farmhands return to proper management under Murphy's guidance. Suppliers slowly restore credit terms as they see the Balagan farm returning to reliable operation. 6 months after reclaiming the farm, Murphy stands on his front porch at dawn, watching the sunrise paint the fields gold. The yam harvest is coming in strong this year, the best in 5 years. Behind him, he hears the screen door open, and Chitty joins him with 2 cups of tea. They stand in comfortable silence, father and son, watching the land wake up. I'm sorry, Dad, Chitty says for the 100th time. I know I've said it before, but I don't think I can say it enough. I almost destroyed everything Mom built. Everything you built. Everything we were. Murphy takes a sip of his tea, strong and sweet, the way his late wife used to make it. You didn't destroy it. It's still here. We're still here. That's what matters. How did you do it? Chitty asks. How did you stay so calm when I'd betrayed you so completely? How did you not just give up on me? Murphy is quiet for a long moment, choosing his words carefully. Because you're my son. And sons make mistakes. God knows I made plenty with my own father. But family isn't about perfection. It's about coming back. About choosing each other even after the worst happens. Your mother used to say, love isn't what you say when things are easy. It's what you do when things are hard. I love you, Chitty. That doesn't turn off just because you're foolish. Chitty's eyes well up. I don't deserve you. Murphy puts a hand on his son's shoulder. None of us deserve the love we're given. We just try to be worthy of it. They stand together in the growing light, and Murphy feels his late wife's presence like a warm hand on his shoulder. He'd protected her legacy. He'd saved his son. He'd reclaimed what was his, not through violence or destruction, but through patience, strategy, and love that wouldn't quit even when tested. That afternoon, Emeka approaches Murphy with a young man about 25 years old. Oga Murphy, this is my nephew Tund. He just finished agricultural school. They look for somewhere to learn practical farming. I tell him say you be the best teacher in this state. Murphy looks at the young man, eager, respectful, hungry to learn. He sees himself 46 years ago, when his father first taught him to read the soil, to understand the seasons, to treat the land with respect. You want to learn farming? Murphy asks. Tund nods enthusiastically. Yes, sir. Book learning is good, but everyone say you the one who really understand the land. Say you can teach things no school go teach. Murphy smiles. All right. Tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Bring work clothes and a willingness to get dirty. I'll teach you everything my father taught me, and everything I learned the hard way. Deal. As Tund leaves, excited and grateful, Chitty watches his father. You're passing it on. Murphy nods. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Not just holding on to what we have, but sharing it. Teaching the next generation. Your mother and I didn't build this farm just for ourselves. We built it to last, to matter, to teach people that honest work and good land can sustain a community. That evening, they have dinner on the porch. Chitty, Murphy, Emeka and his family, a few neighbors who helped during the hard months. Someone brings a guitar and there's music and laughter, and Murphy closes his eyes, listening to the sounds of community, of family, of life continuing. When he opens them, he sees Chitty watching him with love and admiration, finally seeing his father clearly for the first time in a long time. The day they underestimated me, Murphy says softly to Chitty, I finally remembered my power. Not to dominate or control, but to protect, to persist, to outlast threats through patience and strategy. Your mother knew that power. She taught me that real strength isn't in forcing people to respect you, but in living so honorably that respect becomes inevitable. Chitty raises his glass. To Mom. To you. To this farm and everything it represents. Everyone echoes the toast, and Murphy feels something settle in his chest. Not triumph or vindication, but peace. He'd fought for what mattered. He'd won. And more importantly, he'd taught his son that some things, family legacy, honor, the land you love, are worth fighting for, even when the people you love most are the ones you're fighting against. As stars emerge in the darkening sky and conversation softens into comfortable silence, Murphy thinks about how his late wife used to end her prayers. Thank you for the battles I survived and the wisdom they gave me. This battle had been hard, had cost him sleep and peace and temporarily his son's trust. But it taught Chitty about manipulation and loyalty, taught Murphy that he was still strong even in his 70s, and restored not just the farm but the values that made the farm worth having. The land would go on, as it always had, through storms and droughts and foolish children and scheming spouses. But it would go on bearing fruit because Murphy had refused to let betrayal be the final word. Because love, real love, fights back. And sometimes the sweetest victory isn't in defeating your enemy, but in saving your family, from others and from themselves. Murphy stands, stretches his aging back, and walks out into his fields one more time before bed. He touches the cassava plants, checks the yam mounds, feels the good earth under his feet. We made it, he whispers to his wife's memory. We protected what we built. Our son came home. And tomorrow, I'm teaching another young one how to do this right. Somewhere in the night, he swears he hears her laugh, warm and proud and eternal. And Murphy smiles, knowing that legacy isn't just about land or money. It's about love that endures, lessons that pass on, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing you fought the good fight and won what really mattered.